Today on Teuty's track analysis, we have the track of the day for April 4th, Cowboy Shower by DoogiieMD. Cowboy Shower is a dirt track, but there are some small road sections throughout the track. The track also features one special block, which is a slow motion, and it is in front of the finish. Speaking of the finish, there is just a single finish. However, you need approximately 270 speed to clear the slow motion block that is in front of it. In terms of difficulty, I found the track to be slightly harder than an average track, rating it a 6.5 out of 10. I completed the track with a time of 42.572. This is roughly 3.5 seconds out of the gold medal time and 3/100ths ahead of the author medal time. I thought Cowboy Shower was a pretty enjoyable track and would rate it a ++. For the analysis today, we are using the Ghost from the current top time driven by Insanity. They had a time of 49.273, and this is 1.075 ahead of my personal best. At the very start of the track, driving around the starting block here, I could have been a bit tighter inside. I'll lose about 1/10 of a second by just being a fair bit wide here. The only thing you want to make sure you do here is not get any airtime down this slope. This will bring us to the first dirt turn here, which of course you want to ride the outside line. However, you don't want to drive perfectly straight into this line. You want to enter like a car width away from the wall. This will let you initially turn a little bit harder into the first part of the dirt turn. If you drive perfectly straight into this section along the left-hand wall, you have to do a small release in order to make it around the corner cleanly. Again here, taking this outside line of the dirt as long as possible. And then for the upcoming downhill here, you can dip down fairly early like the world record does. However, this makes it a fair bit more challenging on the exit to not get any airtime. So here I'll choose to turn into it later to make the exit a little bit easier. Of course, the best spot to exit this section is somewhere over to the left-hand side. The further right you are entering this, the more chance you have at significant airtime. For this next dirt turn here, you want to be a little bit on an outside line. However, you don't want to be fully in the black until you reach this sign. Of course, wanting to remain in that upper line as long as you possibly can. Of course, here I left a fair bit earlier than the top time did. They left at about this first red arrow. Coming up, we have a somewhat challenging transition if you're going for the least airtime as possible. Right before leaving, you want to turn slightly to the right and then immediately switch back to a left-hand turn. This will drop your left side tires down a little bit and give you slightly earlier landing and acceleration. Coming up is an extremely important part of the track to keep a lot of speed on, and this can be a somewhat challenging feat as well. Right here, you need a somewhat parallel line to this black line to our left, and then you need to be turning towards the right, basically as you get over the black line behind us. This should get you a somewhat smooth transition over the spots with no airtime. Again, this can be a little bit of a tricky spot in the track, as any bit of your line that is a little bit off here can result in that airtime. The next dirt turn can be a fair bit deceiving. It's extremely easy here to turn a little bit too early and be too far inside. You want to remain mostly throughout the middle of the section until you get towards the upper part of it, and then you want to be on the outside line. For the upcoming jump, you basically want to jump a little bit left of center. Here I'm jumping just way too far to the left. I'll land a little bit in the curve of the dirt, get a little bounce, and lose a small amount of speed. The little bump I got sent me a little bit offline, and I was not able to get in this outside line that you would want during this section. Moving up a little bit here, you don't really want much, if any, of the upcoming outside line. Maybe very initially here to get a small speed boost and a push down to the left, but yeah, not much of the outside line here during this turn. Finally, coming up, we have the last dirt part, and like most slope ones, you need a smooth line up it. This one is pretty easy to slide up too high to the right, which will cause you to slide once you hit the roads. You need to jump off this as straight as possible. Really depends on your speed on where you need to jump during this part. Then moving on to the final jump here, again, you need approximately 270 minimum speed to clear the slow motion block. If you do have that low amount of speed, you're going to want to drive down a little bit further to the left here and then turn back to the right. This will give you the most amount of airtime as possible. Not a ton to say for the final thoughts today. Overall, a pretty good track. Most of the lines on it are extremely smooth. Some parts can be a little bit tricky, including a transition midway through, and the dirt to road jump near the ends can also be a fair bit challenging, but again, an overall solid track. That's going to do it for today's analysis, though. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like the video and subscribe. Check the description for links to my Twitch and Discord, and be sure to check out all the previous track analysis videos already out on the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on Thursday for the next one.